this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we have come to the end of our topic on decimals and we are going to do some revision questions. So this bunch of questions that I have here, I have 12 questions for you today, is just one or two questions from each of the lessons that we've done on this topic of decimals. So if you're feeling pretty confident, you could use this as a time to test yourself. You could pause the video, try all of the questions, and then just use the video to check your answers. Or if you think that you need a little bit of extra help, then you could just work through these questions with me. Okay, so let's go with question number 1. Write in decimal form 60 plus 3 plus 1 over 10 plus 5 over 1,000. So 60 plus 3, that's my whole numbers here, so it's 63. When I get to the fractions, that means I have my decimal point. I have 1/10 and 5 thousandths. So there's no hundredths, so I need a 0 here in the hundredths position, and the 5 goes in the thousandths position. So 63.105. Question 2, write 218 over 100 in decimal form. So I'm basically dividing this number here by 100, which means the imaginary decimal point at the end here needs to go back 2 places. 2 jumps will make it 2.18. Question 3, arrange the following numbers in ascending order. So they're all 0 point, they all start with a 0. After the decimal point, in the tenths position, we have an 8, 6, 8, 6. All right, so because we're doing ascending order, we want the smallest ones first. So 6 is smaller than 8. So these two with the 6s must be smaller. To see which out of the two of them is smaller, the smallest, we need to look into the hundredths position. This one has a 9, this one has a 5. 5 is smaller, so that means this number is the smallest one, 0.657. Okay, that means this is the next smallest, 0.693. Now, these two will be third and fourth, but which one is first? Again, because the tenths are the same, we need to look at the hundredths, and the 3 is smaller than the 6, so this one must be slightly smaller. 0.834 is next, making the largest one 0.869. Question 4, rounding this number to the nearest hundredth. So remember that these are the first decimal place is the tenths, and the second decimal place is the hundredths. So we want to round off after that second decimal place. Because my next number is a 1, it will just cut off, it'll round off. So my answer is 4.56. Question 5, rounding this number to 1 decimal place. So 1 decimal place is the 4. After the 4, I have an 8. So because that is larger than 5, I need to round this number up 1 to make the answer 13.5. Question 6, write 3.45 as a simplified fraction. The 3 is a whole number that sits out the front. The 4 and the 5 will go to the top of the fraction. And because there is 2 decimal places, I will need to put that over 100, the 2 zeros for the 2 decimal places. I need to have my answer simplified though. These numbers here can both be divided by 5. The 3 is not going to simplify, it just stays there. 45 divided by 5 is 9, and 100 divided by 5 is 20. So that is the simplified answer. Question 7, carry out the following addition. We want to first of all set this up in columns, 15.43 and 8.9. The decimal points need to be aligned, and I want to add these together. Because I have a gap here, I can put a 0 in. So 3 plus 0 is 3, 4 plus 9 is 13. Carry the 1 in the 10 position. 1 plus 5 plus 8 makes 14. And 1 plus 1 makes 2. The decimal point will stay in line to make it 24.33. All right, on to question 8. Lana pays for the groceries with a $100 note. How much change will she get from groceries costing $58.35? So we need to subtract. She has $100. If we subtract off the $58.35 that she has to pay, we know how much she'll get as change. So I'm going to have to put a decimal point here and a few extra zeros. Now, because it's a $100 note, I'm going to have to do a lot of borrowing along this line here. So I'm going to have to borrow from the 1 to put it here. Cross that out, becomes a 9, become 1 there. Borrow from it, move it to here. Borrow from there, move it down the line. So finally, I can subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 5 is 4. Decimal point stays in line. So my change is $41.65. Okay, on the next page now for question 9. I want to multiply 6.431 times by 100. Because there's 2 zeros here, it means I need to jump the decimal point 2 places, making it larger. So 1, 2, it's going to go in there, making it 643, then the point 1. For part B, I'm dividing this time by 1,000. 3 zeros, which means I need to go 3 jumps to the left, backwards, because I'm dividing. So 1, 2, 3 jumps backwards will make it 5.4925. C, 7 divided by 100. Now that would be the same as 7.0 if you want to put the 0. The decimal point would be at the end. To divide it by 100, the 2 zeros, I need to go back 2 places. So 1 would jump over the 7. I'd need to put a 0 in here to do my second jump. So my decimal point needs to go there. You can put a 0 in front of it just to make it look right. So 0.07 is the answer. Question 10, we are multiplying decimals. So the easiest way to do that is just to write down your numbers without the decimal places. So let's change that to 412 and 53 and do a multiplication with that. So first of all, to multiply, we multiply the 3 by everything up here. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, the 3 is done. We've multiplied that. Now we want to do the 5. Because it's in the tens position, we put a 0 down first. 5 times 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 1 is 6. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, we want to add those numbers together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 and 6 makes 8. 1 plus 0 is 1, and 2 and nothing is 2. So there's my answer. But now I need to think about the decimal places. There was 1, 2, 3 numbers that were after decimal places in the question. That means that there'll be 3 numbers after decimal places in the answer. So 1, 2, 3 numbers, the decimal point must go there. 21.836. On to question 11. We want to convert 11 over 3 into decimal form. So that means I need to do a divide sign here, and I want to have 11 divided by 3. Now, this is not going to go nicely, so I'm going to put a decimal point here and put some zeros down in preparation. So 11 divided by 3. Okay, we can do 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, they'll go 3 times to get 9. 10, 11 means there's a remainder of 2, which goes in front of my first 0. 20 divided by 3, put the decimal point here, sorry. 20 divided by 3, 3 sixes are 18, which will also give me a remainder of 2 again. So that's going to give me the same thing. 3 sixes are 18 with a remainder of 2. So what I'm going to keep getting here is a recurring decimal. So my answer is 3.6 repeating. Question 12. 6.54 divided by 0.8. So I'm dividing decimals, but I'm dividing a decimal by another decimal. So I want to make that a little bit nicer first. What I'm going to do is write it as a fraction. And if I multiply by 10 over 10, I will get rid of this decimal on the bottom. Multiplying the top by 10, move it one jump here, will be 65.4. Times the bottom by 10, one jump over, will give me the nice whole number 8. This is a much nicer division problem. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do 65.4 divided by 8. 65 divided by 8 goes 8 times, because 8 times 8 is 64, with a remainder of 1. Decimal point goes here. 14 divided by 8 goes only once, because 1 8 is 8, giving me a remainder of 6. So I put a 0 down, put the 6 in front. 60 divided by 8. 7 times 8 is 56, so it's going to go 7 times, with a remainder of 4. And 40 divided by 8 goes 5 times, exactly, no remainder. So 8.175 for the answer. That's it for our revision lesson. If you think you've mastered this topic, then join me for my next lesson, which will be the challenge questions. I'll see you then. Until then, keep practicing. Bye.